So recently, I've been kind of looking at the shelves, and I'm getting more and more excited for some new upcoming reads from some new authors. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and like I said in the intro, I have got a list of anticipated reads, highly anticipated reads, from some new-to-me self-pub authors. But before we get into this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow, and you can check the description box down below for information about my Patreon if you want to support what I do. And guys, this is something that I'm always super excited to talk about, is to kind of just shine a light on some self-pub. Even if I haven't read this yet, these are books that I'm incredibly excited for. And today I've got 5. They sound so cool, and I kind of wanted to share some of my excitement with you. Now, this one is from a series called Treasure Hunter Alliance, Fortress of the Lost Amulet. And this is by Michael Webb. This is a YA adventure fantasy, and it sounds so good, because right here on the back, it says part Indiana Jones, part Percy Jackson, and all fantasy adventure. And I don't know if you've been following the channel lately. I've been kind of craving some easier to read adventures, or just some cozy fantasy. I've been kind of getting into historical fiction. Just kind of, my tastes seem to have been changing with the season. We've gone from winter, where it's dark and gloomy, and so I'm reaching for either, like, that winter is like one or two extremes. Winter, you either want to read, those just warm and cozy books, or those dark and like just angry at life and the weather and stuff like that. But now that spring is here, I'm kind of wanting to get out and feel adventurous, and so I want to kind of explore that in my reading here with Fortress of the Lost Amulet. And then basically the back says, Peter cares about 3 things: his family, his best friends, and escaping an apprenticeship he hates. He works to appease his parents, but bides his time until he can adventure on his own. Rumors surface of a legendary treasure, the Amulet of Power, that's been lost for centuries. When a clue to the artifact's location falls in their laps, Peter and his friends embark on a quest to uncover the long-forgotten mysteries of the fabled treasure. That sounds awesome, and I cannot wait to read this one. So that's book number 1. Book number 2, I've also been on a weird kind of supernatural kick lately. Usually, like, if you were like, Andrew, do you like reading vampire books? I'd be like, no, as I reach for a vampire book. Like, that was last month. And so we've got The Fear of Mon Croy by Brian Asher, because I've been craving vampire stories. And this one's a standalone, and it's a short standalone, which has me curious and excited. All the Waywards have fallen. After a mission against the royal vampiric court goes horribly wrong, all the Waywards are slaughtered. All except one. Davian, the last surviving member, must consume potions to mask himself and hide amongst the very people who killed his brethren. After a decade of living this double life, Davian has resigned himself to his new purgatory, but all will not remain calm for him or the court. An unknown swordsman arrives, and after killing several royal vampires, rumors spread that he's searching for anyone still belonging to the Wayward Order. Davian decides he must track down this mysterious swordsman, but will finding him mean freedom or his own demise? There we go. Got a little tongue-tied at the end. But, look at this cover. Let me just get in close. This cover is fantastic. This cover is gorgeous. It is special. But also, I believe this book is illustrated. At least a little bit. Yep, there's some illustrations in here. And the illustrations are pretty much just as good as the cover, as I slowly not talk to the camera and instead flip through the book. But yes, this is one I'm very, incredibly, highly excited for. And then, of course, this is an arc that I just received, and I have been hearing so much about this. This is one of the darker fantasies, and this is Seeds of War by Joe F. Silva. Joe, J-O-A-O. Let me know if I've said that wrong, because I feel like I have. But, this one looks dope. This is from One Breath, One Jump, One Death, Seeds of War, The Smokesmiths, Book 1. And the aesthetic of this cover is fantastic. I kind of love that kind of just soft orange, and then this smoke just coming out of, it looks like it's coming out of his hand, or maybe he's like warming his hand. I don't know, but this cover is working for me. He ran like the monster he was, and the smoke followed. Gilmore is a single mother and a war veteran turned crime boss set on protecting her family and her town. Or Berissus is a petty thief pretending to be God to protect a terrible secret. Red Now is the world's most feared mercenary, but his best days are behind him and there's one job left to do. So this sounds like a multi-POV, but man, this just sounds so good. In a world of dangerous monsters and devastating smoke magic that has gotten me super interested, the seeds of war are being planted. Allies must be treasured and enemies defeated. This sounds amazing, and I can't wait to slot this in. I mean, this just looks and sounds fantastic. So good. All right, and then the sequel for this one's getting ready to drop, and I just need to get to this because actually both of these come from recommendations from my friend Middle of Nowhere, or Jordan Reads Books. I'll link his channel down below. Fantastic guy, great recommendations, and our tastes are basically identical. He just reads self-pub faster than I do. And we've got The Bleeding Stone, The Spellbinders and Gunslingers by Joseph John Lee. And this one sounds like an island nation. It's got some kind of Native American vibes to it with like an industrial revolution. Maybe a little bit of nautical. Let's read the back of this one because the Spellbinders and Gunslingers just sounds super cool. The island nation of Faranda is the jewel of the Arcadian kingdom, and its founder, Artiz Amata, is revered as a god amongst men. But 25 years ago, Artiz was merely a man, a colonizer, an invader seeking glory and fame in the name of his king and queen. And Faranda was a nameless union of indigenous tribes, reverent of the heightened powers and aptitudes granted to them by their animal deities, but sundered by the foreigners claiming their lands to the south. In the unconquered north, the Stone Tribes has, for 15 years, offered a safe haven for the southern tribes displaced by Artiz's invaders, whose occupying march north has been ostensibly halted by a dense forest barrier dividing north and south. Amongst the Stone people lives Sen, an outcast for the circumstances of her birth, preserved in society only by her status as daughter of her tribe's chief. Forever regulated to the fringes of society, she is forced to watch as countless of her kin, including her sister and brother, complete their rites of passage into adulthood and accordingly earn their aptitudes by the deity to whom they share an affinity, the bear, the wolf, or the owl. Despite this, Sen finds comfort in her life of forced solitude with her close inner circle, but hers is a comfort in days of waning tenuous peace. When Artiz's technologically advanced forces push north, Sen is thrust into a singular quest to rescue one of her precious few captured in the ensuing struggle. While her goal is earnest, save someone dear to her and prove her worth to the tribe, her people's goals is far more dire, survival in the face of uncertainty. Gorgeous cover art and a fantastic story. I am sure that I cannot wait to dig my teeth into and just take a bite out of this gorgeous book. Not really. I don't bite my books, guys. Trust me. And then another recommendation from Jordan, Middle of Nowhere, is Anthony Mitchell's Wolf Eater. This is book one in A Tale of the Grey Crow. All things die, eventually. Ravaged by a deadly disease, the legendary Wolf Eater finds himself asking one question: why? His blind 8-year-old ward, Nyana, has a question of her own. What next? Oh, this sounds so good. Together they will cross a frozen wilderness, hunted by friends and enemies alike, to touch the sacred Blackstone and ask the gods themselves. Set against them are a pack of savage cannibals. I almost said cannonballs. A bloodthirsty monster and the servant of a raging god. But if they can do the impossible and touch the Blackstone, it could change the destiny of their people, and with it, the fate of the world. And that sounds fantastic. These are all books with amazing covers, fantastic premises, and frankly, 5 of my most anticipated self-pub that I have on my shelf. And if you're thinking, why didn't you include like Mark Howard or H.C. Newell? You've been talking about those for a while. Those are already slotted into TBRs and MBRs upcoming here soon. so I'm already planning on reading these pretty much in the immediate future. I try and get to like 4 or 5 self-pub books every month. Sometimes I read a little bit more, sometimes I read a little bit less, but I cannot wait to dig into these. Let me know in the comments down below what some of your most anticipated self-pub books are, and that's all I really got for you. So till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.